Let's head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
I want to alliterate on the man who said Barry hasn't been doing anything, and I kind of agree with him. What have we done with our couple third-round picks? Those are big picks. Our second-round pick, our third-round pick, and Anthony Schwartz, Mike Bell. All these guys, these are your depth players, not these guys you're picking off a practice squad. That's why they're on practice squads, because they're not that good. As far as Baker Mayfield goes, I kind of agree with him, because we had a coach who let him play through a bad injury and didn't do anything to help the man. He could have sat him down. He didn't put anybody out there to help him, no nothing. And just because Mayfield spoke up afterwards, now we're going to get rid of him. I'd rather have a Mayfield who's going to go out there every day and play than a Deshaun Watson who's constantly hurt. We paid an awful lot of money for a guy that's played just 6 games. Just my opinion, guys. Take care.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. And Jim, you're certainly entitled to your opinion. I got a hard no on Baker Mayfield. He was 8-9 when he played through an injured shoulder that he demanded that he play through. He wanted to play through it and has admitted that. He was 9-8 last year, and the Browns gained more offensively with 5 different starting quarterbacks than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did with your boy Baker Mayfield. Mayfield's 500, average. And I applaud Andrew Berry for going out and saying 500 at a quarterback ain't good enough in the NFL. You will never win a Super Bowl with a quarterback like Baker Mayfield. Never. G. Bush, I don't know what you think.
Listen, you can't have it both ways. If you say that Baker was playing injured and the coach let him play through it and you should have sat him, well, okay, well, then you can't now come back and say, well, I feel like Deshaun Watson should have played through it. You're like, well, hold on. You just said that you wanted them to protect him and sit him down. So Deshaun Watson got hurt, and now you want him to play through it. I'm confused. Like, either you want him to sit or you want him to stay, or you want to play him. The reality of the situation is this, and I think this happens a lot of times. The Baker Mayfield ship has already sailed, right? It's done, right? When Odell Beckham Jr. was here, I thought that they mishandled the Odell Beckham Jr. thing, and I thought they could have done some better things to get him the football or whatever. But when they traded him to the Rams, it was done. Like, you're not gonna catch me talking about Odell Beckham Jr. because at this point that don't matter. I think we are stuck at a point where we got to realize something. It ain't 2019. Like, this is not 2019. And Baker didn't beat the Jets on a Thursday night and the beer cooler's open and we came back to win a game. Like, that's done. He pays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think a lot of the fan base is waiting for something to happen or waiting for some other shoe to happen or something to fall off. And I'm like, guys, don't you guys realize you went to the playoffs last year? I hear a lot of calls, and I'm like, fellas, what we went to the playoffs with a backup quarterback.
And here's the thing. The Carolina Panthers, who are in quarterback hell, gave up on Baker Mayfield. They went out and took Bryce Young. The LA Rams had Baker Mayfield in. They didn't keep him around. The Browns didn't keep him around. That's almost a tenth of the teams that have already said, we got to do better. There's only 32 teams. He went 9-8 with and the third round picks. You realize Martin Emerson, who we just talked about, is a third round pick. DeJuan Jones was a fourth round pick. Yeah. So the point was the roster with Barry isn't good, and that was what he's dovetailing on. I'm like, you're crazy. Everybody thinks this roster, minus the quarterback that they have questions about, is one of the best in the league. And you know what? Just remember these conversations once the regular season starts.
Yes. And not to mention, I mean, we haven't even talked about, what if Nick Chubb turns out to be back to Nick Chubb? I mean, when we go over these, about the roster, most people have Nick Chubb as still a top 5 running back. When they go over the defensive backs, PFF has 3 of the top 35 ranked quarterbacks. The Browns have 3 of the top 35. When it comes to offensive line, PFF has them rated the 3rd best offensive line in the entire game. They have 2 guards that are in the top 10 in their position, not to mention a top 10 tight end by most people's thought processes, and a top 5 player overall in the entire league. And Myles Garrett, the defensive player of the year. JOK is rated highest, as the number 6 linebacker in all of football. So when people talk about the lack of like talent, I'm like, what are you looking at? What are you guys watching? Like, I maybe I missed it. Maybe we back in 2014, but I think perception kind of, especially when you talk about the off season. Off season is so long, and you listen to these lists and you listen to people say, I don't know about the Browns, I don't know, and it kind of rubs off on them. But guys, just always remember, you had a better record in the regular season than the Houston Texans. Like, they didn't win. They didn't even win their division. That's the reason they got a home game. The Browns had a great record. They did it with swing tackles and backup quarterbacks. So they're pretty good. Just let the season play out, and I guarantee that you'll be a little bit energized at what you can check out.